How are you, Rhenzy? I'm so excited to talk to you because this movie was so cute. And what I loved about this movie is that it had so many elements that I love in movies like this, but it also tackles so many subjects that are not in a lot of young adult movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But first, before we get through to anything, I have to ask, is this your dog?
Yes. Yeah, that's Lola.
She's so cute. My husband and I have two puppies downstairs, and I was like looking
Oh.
on your Instagram and I was wondering what type of dog Lola was.
We have that question too. When we got her, they said that she was a Shih Tzu. But the more we look at dogs who are Shih Tzus and dogs who, there's another mix that we found that looks exactly like her. So we feel like we were lied to a little bit, but we were fine. All we wanted was a dog that was hype. I have really bad allergies, like year round. It's terrible. So all we needed was a dog that was hypoallergenic, and then we were good to go. And she's one of those.
Yeah, I was wondering because we have two Havanese puppies downstairs and they're hypoallergenic as well because I also suffer from bad allergies. And then our last dog was a Shih Tzu mix. So I was looking and I was like, reminds me of like our last dog, Oscar. So
Oh, that's so
cute.
cute. Yeah.
Okay, so regarding the movie, I love the long shot of you and Owlie. That's how it's like I was figuring out exactly how to pronounce her name. It's Owlie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like
Amazing.
I have to make sure.
That's how I felt when I first met her. I was like, let
Yeah,
me
and
make
I was
sure
like, it's
because I
funny.
have a difficult name too, sort of like Renzi. When you see it, I would always get substitute teachers were like my worst nightmare because they would always get my name wrong when I was a kid, and then that would be my name for the rest of the day. You know how that goes.
Yeah,
Um, so that was my first thing too, was like making sure that I got her name right because she was already cast in the movie before I got on, and
got
so
it.
I wanted to make sure that I knew someone's name is pretty important.
Yeah, I saw that when she was doing promo for Moana, she did like a pronunciation. I think with The Rock being like, "This is how you pronounce my name," like Owlie E.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
love
yeah.
the long shot of her. I don't want to give too much away, obviously, but the long shot of her singing and you playing the piano. And I was just curious, was she actually live singing during that moment? Because it sounded like she was. And I'm also just curious how many takes you guys did for that particular scene.
Yeah, that was actually a really interesting thing because before, I guess when we first read the script and I first auditioned, the character needed to know how to play the guitar, and I had just started learning, thankfully, and so I was able to send in a little clip of me playing guitar. They switched it up to him being playing piano, and
Yeah.
then that scene sort of came to fruition, and she is actually singing in the takes, and she's, I mean, my God, an amazing singer. And it was so cool. I had never played piano before. I got to learn how to play that song for the movie.
Wow.
And so they sent over like a piano, someone who taught me piano, and I learned how to play for like a few days there. I had a few classes, and I practiced all the way up until that scene. They even got one for me in my room in Portland, and I just practiced, and I actually got to play on the day the whole song with her. While she sings, we would dead the piano, and then there was one take that we did. We did one shot of me actually playing the piano, where we sort of come around and you can see my hands, and we can see her and see her singing. Um, and for that, she was really singing, and for that, I was really playing, and it came out beautiful. Yeah, I think Brett did such a good job at shooting this movie. Um, so with that scene, I actually really like a lot because it like reminds me of how much prep I had to do in order to learn how to play that little. And it's just a short song, it's a few minutes, but it took me way too long to learn it. It took me so long to learn that. I was just tearing my hair because I don't know how to play. I was just memorizing like middle finger goes here, index finger goes here. All right, two over right. All right, one up, two left. That's how I was memorizing the whole song. So it was tough
But
at
it's
the
awesome
beginning.
that you actually learned how to play for the movie. So wait, because I that was one of my questions is if you had known how to play the piano, because it is very natural. But now I need to ask the question, you were originally going to play guitar and you were practicing that and then they changed it?
I was practicing the guitar just because I had just seen A Star Is Born, and I fell in love with that movie, and I
I
fell in love
literally
with
have that on my notes here. I'm not even kidding.
No
That's
way.
a question I'm asking you for later, but
Oh,
that is so
I'm ahead of the
yes.
game.
I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
that movie like 5 times in theaters. It was so
I
crazy.
saw it twice in theaters. I loved it. Yeah, yeah. I went back by myself because nobody wanted to come again. They're like, "Oh no, I'm busy. I'm busy." I went by myself. I was like, "Okay,
What?
fine, I'll watch it." Yeah, I love that movie. I love Bradley Cooper. I'm such a huge fan of his with the guy,
Yes.
the range that guy has. And so I saw him playing, and I'm like, I always wanted to play the guitar. When I saw him doing it, I was like, all right, I need to do it. That looks way too cool. And so I started picking it up. And by the time that the audition came around, I had already learned enough to where I could send in me playing a song. And it was like guitar skills a plus. And so I was like, definitely gonna show what I have, what I can do.
Cool.
And so I sent it in, and yeah, it ended up changing, which is fine because now I got to learn a little bit of piano, which I didn't know before. So it's
Are you going to
kind of
keep on practicing?
I should I need to get a keyboard and then keep practicing. Yeah, I
I was
need to
curious.
go out and actually buy one.
Yeah, I was curious, like, what you've been doing since you've been, like, we've all kind of been, like, at home more, social
Yeah,
distancing. I'm curious, what shows that you've been, binging and watching, or what you've been, like, reading and writing, and how you've been feeling creatively as an actor during this time.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I enjoy working so much. I enjoy
Yeah.
being on a set so much. I guess, and maybe I hope that this feeling stays with me my entire career, my entire life. But maybe it's because I'm still semi new. I mean, I've done this for a few years, but I love being on a set. I love working on things. There's something new every single day. I love that about it.
Yeah.
So this time has been a little bit tough, just in terms of relatively. I feel like in comparison to other people, I'm doing fine. I've got a little routine going, and I kind of like it. I like what I'm doing. I wake up. I should be waking up a lot earlier than I am, but I wake up. I eat a little bit. I have a little workout, which sort of keeps me. That's the thing that keeps me sort of feeling like I'm not wasting my time here. I'm like trying to do something, trying to get my body a little bit better. Just do something, and that helps. And then I make myself a little meal. I sit down. I pour myself a little glass of wine. I watch a movie, and that's like my
Yes.
routine, like every single day. Just I do that, and like it gets me through, and it gets me to the next one. It gets me to the next one. I get to audition these days too, which is fun to get to like work on something, just to get to act a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you
but
sensing, like, so I've talked to, like, a lot of actors during this time, via Zoom interviews. I mean, I wish I could be talking to you and interviewing you in
I
person,
know.
the Netflix junket for this. But I mean, I just am always interested to see, because it's like a lot of people, like, they just are trying to get their routines down, or they're auditioning, or in some people, like, they're not doing like a whole lot at all. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
so
right.
I was just curious if you were watching any, like, shows or any other movies, like anything that you've been binging recently.
Yeah, I recently, and I mean like 2 days ago, just finished Dave on FX. Well, I
Yeah.
saw it on Hulu, but an FX show.
Yeah.
So funny. I was actually like surprised. I don't know why I was so surprised, maybe because I know him as a rapper, and I was like, how
I,
funny could this show be?
I'm
And
obsessed with Little Dicky. My husband and I were supposed to see him in concert here in DC a couple years ago, and it got canceled, and I was so
oh
bummed. Like, I'm
no,
like dying to see him. I'm like
I
obsessed with his
know.
music videos.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen the music videos, but I know like from watching the show, like it's fun. Like he's having fun with it. He has like actual bars. Like the guy can actually rap, which is fun.
Yeah.
So I like the music in the show. I like the acting in the show. I think it's so funny. I like the story where it goes. I also, and I haven't watched the third season, so do not spoil anything. But in quarantine, I've caught up to 2 seasons of Ozark, which is blowing my mind. That
You'll be
show.
obsessed with season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're opening up. I don't maybe people haven't seen it, but they're opening that up real soon, and that's exciting.
I
But I'm
randomly
waiting for
came
my.
across the set of Ozark when I was in Atlanta last year, and I just liked, because they filmed part of it in Atlanta, and it was just like, it's season 3 will blow your mind, especially Laura Linney and Jason Bateman, of course, who's always great. But
Oh my God,
you'll
this is
have, you'll
so
have to let me know
funny.
what you think.
Yeah. I will. I will.
So I love the moment in the film where your character Ty asks Amber, "What is so bad about needing help?"
Mm.
And the state of the world that we are in right now, I love that your character isn't afraid to admit that. And I'm just curious, how long were you guys filming this movie? How long was filming?
We shot for about a month and a half
Okay.
in Portland, Oregon. We were up there from I guess early October to mid-November.
Okay, so during that time, I mean, like, I just loved the positive energy from your character, and I feel like that I want to be like him. And this is a character that we like.
I want to be like him.
I know. Well, I'm wondering,
Yeah.
like, so during that filming, and based on like how positive and just how like just his energy is so good. Is there something that you learned about yourself as an actor, as Renzi, while playing this character during that month and a half time?
Interesting. Is there anything I learned from playing Ty? I mean, I learned that it, it's the things he's saying, have it's incredibly valid. Like a lot of people, I think I'm one of those people also who doesn't necessarily like to accept help. I don't think on the level that Amber does. She's got some things
Yeah.
going on, where it's really, really difficult for her to do that. But on a similar, on a yes, on a lesser scale, not as grand. I think the things that he's saying have merit. Really should be okay with embracing your community and letting them in and letting them help you, because life's hard, man. Life's not easy. It has a lot of tough times, and especially now in quarantine, it's like we're starting to spend a lot more time with ourselves as human beings. Um, and that sometimes, that can get tough for people. That can't be easy. So it's good to have a good, a good circle around you that can sort of help you out. And then when times get kind of dark that way. And I'm lucky that I do have that circle. I have those people around me, like my best friends, and my mom also is like super there for me all the time. And it's like, it's good to have a sense where it's good to have a community where you feel like you can tell them
Yeah.
anything and they'll be there, and that they genuinely want to listen. That's the other thing. It's like, sometimes you can talk, but sometimes people don't necessarily listen to you. It's good to have a circle that cares.
Yeah, I hope like when the movie comes out, on August 28th, I'm curious, what you're hoping that fans can take away from it, because like I said earlier, it touches on several heavier topics that aren't necessarily touched on in a lot of, younger adult movies, like homelessness, domestic abuse. So what are you hoping that, the fans are and the audiences are going to like take away from this film when it's out on the 28th?
Yeah, I'm hoping that, I guess, because it tackles so many things, like you said, that sometimes life is going to bring you, you know, dark times, and that in the dark there's still light. She says a poem in the movie, which now I've seen 57 times, just because like I'm like dying over every scene. But she has, and I forget exactly, but um, she has this beautiful monologue at the end that I'm not going to spoil.
Yeah.
But I guess if you take away anything, that in darkness there is light. There's a silver lining that you can find, and that if you accept help from people and say thank you with gratitude, you'll be better for it than if you didn't.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And I thought the monologue was just like so beautiful. You
Yeah.
guys are really like the chemistry is so good.
Oh, thank
You
you.
know, I one of my fave scenes in the movie is the variety show that your character kind of hosts towards the end. And I know you're, a younger actor, and I don't know, if you went to a regular high school or, if you had anything like a variety show. For me, I was like, a theater minor in college. I was in theater in high school. We had Shakespeare Day in high school, and I would
So fun.
perform Shakespeare scenes with my, fellow theater students. Did you guys have anything like a performing arts type thing? I mean, have you done anything like that in your similar experience?
Yeah, I actually have. It's funny you ask.
Really?
I did. Yeah. I started acting period when I was in my junior year of high school. That's when I started like really doing it. I played baseball up until then, and so I started acting and joined the theater department. And at the end of the year, they have this thing called a public domain, where I was at Santa Monica High School here in LA.
Mhm.
I moved to Santa Monica when I was 15,
Okay.
and so from Florida. Anyways, so we do the show, and every year I only did it. I only did it for 2 years. By this time, my junior year, I did it my junior year the first time, and I did a monologue from, I think it was from an August Wilson play. I love August Wilson, the
Oh
playwright,
yeah.
and so I did. I think it was from. I think it was from Jitney. I think it was a young Blood monologue. Ah, God, I can't remember. It was years ago. It was like 4 or 5 years
We
ago.
need the
But
video of this, Rhenzy, for
no,
your
no, no, we do not need the video of this. That's the last thing we need. But we would do like a variety show where you could bring up anything you wanted. If you made a song, you could sing it for people, and there would be an audience because all the parents and everyone would come. If you wanted to do a scene of a play, if you wrote your own scene of a scene from a movie, you could bring up anything that was out there or that you created yourself and sort of bring it to life on stage. So we did sort of have a thing both years. That's when I had gotten super into acting, and all I did was read about acting and read about plays and read plays and watch movies and read scripts. I was doing everything I could to like just dive into this thing.
Yeah.
And so I was just diving into monologue. I just wanted to get on stage and do something that was, I mean, I was young. I was 16, 17, but I wanted gritty. I wanted good. I wanted pain. I wanted that scream at Marlon Brando. I wanted it all. Yeah.
I
So
love it.
that's what
I love how you were like a athlete and then like totally went to the theater department.
It was like the most random thing, but I think it's always been inside me. I've always wanted to. I was just always too scared to. And then when I got to LA, it's not so weird to do it out here as it is maybe in Orlando, Florida, to be in the theater department or whatever. And so
Right.
I felt like it was an easier transition out here.
That's true. So I know we talked about A Star is Born just a couple minutes ago. So I know that this movie does have musical elements like we talked about. And I'm curious for you, I literally have it on here, like A Star is Born is written. I'm like, what are your favorite movies that feature music? I mean, obviously for me, A Star is Born, Walk the Line, Whiplash. I mean, I know, dude, it's so good. Is there any, I'm sure you have tons, but what are some faves that feature music? No, I'm putting you on the spot.
Music. I know. I feel like after the interviews that I'm going to think of 5 more that I should have said.
I know.
That's how it goes for me.
I mean, you said A Star is Born. I mean, I'm glad you saw
A Star is Born is definitely one of them. I love the way that it's shot. I love the way that they shoot the concert scenes where they go like up on stage and actually like we're there with them and we're not necessarily out towards the audience, but we're there with them. Like it's more intimate that way.
Yeah.
And they're falling in love. So that one is probably one of my top ones. You said Whiplash, which I recently just rewatched. I have a friend of mine, he has like not seen, I feel like I've seen a lot of movies. He's like the guy, oh, I haven't seen that one. Oh, I haven't seen that one either. Oh, I haven't seen it. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so I'm sitting him down and we're watching like all the movies during quarantine. One of them was Whiplash. And on rewatch, I was like, oh my God, this is so much better than I even remember it being. The music and that final drum sequence blows my mind every time. I just rewatched La La Land, which I actually really enjoyed.
So good.
I just love Ryan Gosling.
Up here, right there.
Oh, no way.
I have so many nerdy posters behind me. But yeah, no, La La Land is obviously like a classic.
yeah, like it was just so awesome. I love the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. They're so good together.
Yeah.
They're so good in like a lot of things. I just rewatched Crazy Stupid Love, and again,
they're so good. If you love Ryan Gosling, you have to watch Drive. If you haven't seen, have you seen?
I have seen it.
Like my favorite movie.
It's so good. I love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac makes an appearance halfway through. Yeah, that's a good cast. They do so well.
So good. Yeah. So I know we've talked about what you've been doing at home. I feel like I'm behind the times, but I literally just started Runaways. The cinematography in that show is so good.
Awesome.
Oh my God, so good. So the first 3 seasons I know, or the first, is it completed?
We've done the first 3, yeah. 3 are done.
Is there gonna be a 4th?
No, Marvel had this whole thing. They like canceled all the. I don't think a single Marvel show made it out.
Yeah, but so the reason I think that the show is so cool is like focusing on the villains and then figuring. We see these villains in Marvel superhero movies, right? But we don't get a lot of their backstory or their family. And I'm curious for you, when you're an actor approaching, a character like Alex, and you have so many hours of TV to have a character arc versus a 2-hour-long film, do you approach it any differently?
I guess you have to in a way because the problem is that we don't get all 10 scripts in advance. So I don't even really know the arc that's coming my way, but you know not to close yourself off to anything. In a movie, I know my entire arc and what it's going to be, before we start shooting. I guess in a way you approach it differently, but you take it scene by scene. You just try to find the truth in every scene and what is real at that moment. And for Alex, it's a 3-season arc, and he's very, very different from when, from the pilot episode, like worlds different. But of course they've gone through so much things together.
Yeah.
So I do approach it differently, but it's tough when you don't know exactly what's coming ahead.
I'm just throwing it out there because I'm having so much fun with it right now, and I'm recommending it as binging for people for
Good.
3 seasons on Hulu because it's so good. Well, Rhenzy, you've been so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful for your time today, and I think that this movie is just so cute. I want people to watch Runaways. I just like, is there anything else that, I know you said that you've been doing a lot of like maybe Zoom auditions. I'm curious for you, like, what is like your dream next step and goal in your career as an actor?
For me, it's just important that whatever I do is it. There's certain shows to me, there's certain movies to me that sort of transcend the genre. So I'm not necessarily like looking for a comedy or for a drama or for a teen or for a thriller or for a horror. I'm more looking for that the quality of things that I do are very high. That's what's most important to me, because I love movies from all different kinds of. I rewatched Get Out last night, and that's has its own spin, on the horror and the thriller thing. It's just something unique, something inventive, something new. Drive is so unique in the way that it shoots, and it shoots its relationship with the two leads. I love movies that are a little bit different, that find a new way to do something maybe we've seen before or maybe we haven't seen before. So I've been asked that, I guess, maybe a couple of times, like, oh, what do you want to do next? What do you want to do next, by either my manager, agents, and stuff. And it's more of who's doing it, the directors behind it, the filmmakers behind the project, the producers behind it. That stuff is super important to me, because I just want to make something that when I look back in a year, and 5 and 10 and 15, I was like, that's a good movie. Like, whatever happened, that was good. It was like the quality was high. So I don't know exactly what the next thing that I want to do is, but I do want it to be a film. I want it to be another movie. That was my first movie that I'd ever done, was All Together Now. And I loved that experience. I've showed it to a few of my friends. I love getting to give them a piece of art that's, consumable in an hour and a half, 2 hours. And they've gone through a story. They've gone through something with these characters. That stuff is super powerful to me. I would like it to be something like that, but I'm open, as long as it's something that is really, I guess who wouldn't want to be part of something good, but it matters to me that I can look back on it and be like, wow, no, we made something pretty cool.
By the way, Get Out is one of those movies that gets better every time you watch it. You pick up on things every time you watch it. Us is the same way, because have you seen Us?
Yeah, I did.
Dude, we got to get you in a Jordan Peele movie, because like his stuff is like phenomenal.
I know. Hey, if you want to start the petition, I'll sign it. Like,
yeah. No, but like Get Out is one, like, Daniel Kaluuya is so freaking good in that movie. And honestly, Allison Williams, her performance, because like you think she's one person the whole time, and like, it's so different. Yes, she's so good, but like his movies are like next level. Like, he's doing stuff as like a horror film director and a director in general that I feel like Hitchcock was doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, like iconic stuff. I mean, I thought Get Out should have won Best Picture that year. I mean, I just thought it was like, I just thought it was like one of the best movies I've ever seen.
It's so unique to its own.
Dude, I could geek out with you about movies like all day. So last question for you. Like I said, I have been watching Runaways for the first time. And my fave Marvel films are Infinity War. I went to the Infinity War premiere. I loved Endgame too. I'm a huge Ant-Man fan, and I love Civil War. Infinity War is probably like my favorite if I had to pick one. I'm sure you've been asked this before, but what are some of your favorite Marvel films?
Oh man, it's so weird. I was also rewatching, after we watched Get Out, I was rewatching the opening to Iron Man 2, which is so, I love the Iron Man movies. I guess the first one struck me because even as a kid I can remember watching the first Iron Man. The Spider-Man ones even before that like were my life, but the in terms of the new like MCU, the universe, I'd have to say my favorites are the last few of the Avengers movies. Infinity War being one of them, and Endgame also. I really liked Civil War too. I
Yeah.
really liked Civil War.
I mean, the Russo brothers are like phenom, like they're
I
phenomenal.
don't, they did it. Like I don't know how they get such a large scope and are able to do what they do. Because that's the thing, they're doing superhero movies, but in a way they're like doing them well. They're like doing a good, like they could just coast off the fact that they have Iron Man in their movie and they have Captain America and
Yes.
let's just show them doing an action sequence. But they do so much more than that. The story that they're writing is so much more than just seeing them get to blow stuff up together. So it's like it's so I think it's genius what they're doing. But so yeah, if I had to say, it would be Infinity War. I loved
Oh, so
Civil War and maybe the first Iron Man.
I just like, because like what the thing about the Russo brothers is they have so many characters they are working with, but you never forget about the story in Infinity War. Like it's like, okay, the Guardians are here, and then like Iron Man and Spider-Man are here, but like none of them are ever forgotten about. I don't know how they juggle it, honestly.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me. I had that same experience when I was watching Game of Thrones. I'm like, how are they doing this with it's such a big world with so many characters, but it works.
Yes.
They found out a way to make it work, and that's so impressive to me.
Yeah, well, Rhenzy, I appreciate your time so much today. I can't wait for people to see this movie because I just thought it was just so good. I loved your character so much. Like I feel like I don't know how much you relate to him, but I just get a sense of like really good positive energy from you, like Ty in the film. And I just appreciate your time so much today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I had fun.
I'm glad.
Yeah, yeah.